Good day, everyone. We're here at the Postgraduate Institute of Management, where the AMDISA 2016 Executive Council meeting and regional conference is currently underway. It is hosted by the Postgraduate Institute of Management, University of Sri Jayewardenepura, and the Institute of Certified Professional Managers here in Sri Lanka. Joining us now is Dr. Prabath Kumar Pankaj. He's the Director, Jaipuriya Institute of Management, India. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
You were a speaker at the conference today, and you had also presented a paper. Could you tell us a little bit about this, please?
Yes, this conference was about networking in the management space in South Asia, and my paper was about the focusing on quality, because I firmly believe that South Asia today needs a firm drive towards quality. Management education is heading towards a situation where it's not about numbers, it's not about cost, it's about value propositions that we offer to our students, graduating students, and it's about making a mark at international level in terms of quality. So I thought I should focus on quality, which is the need and the imperative for South Asia. So my paper was this.
And do you hear this sentiment echoed amongst your colleagues here at the conference?
Oh yes, everybody appreciated the paper, and there were a lot of questions were asked. Probably I was the one who received the largest number of questions, and even after the session got over, everybody appreciated that, yes, and they agreed that yes, what I was talking about, my talk about quality was something that is very important for South Asia, and they agreed to it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So in which areas in particular should the focus be on in terms of quality?
Yes, when I talk about quality, is actually I divide it into three parts. The first and foremost is a student, the graduating students. So when we talk about South Asia scenario of higher education, we see that the enrollment ratio in higher education all across South Asia has increased. So it's not about number. But important thing is that we forget sometimes that where from these students are coming. These students are actually more than 70% of them are entering from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So that's a very interesting point that we quite often neglect or overlook or not able to discern.
And what is meant by tier 2 and tier 3 cities?
Yes, we are saying non-metro cities. Because of inclusive education, the easy availability of loan from the bank, low cost of higher education, and the job orientation that higher education or management education is providing. So probably the youth is more inclined towards that. Now, what is so special about the students coming from non-metro? One of the research we have conducted way back in India, and I found that more than 60-70%, around 60-70% of them are first generation learners. I'm sure this is also the scenario in other countries in South Asia. So what is so special about first generation learner? The first generation learners are those who do not have precedence of learning at home. They are the first one who is studying. Now, there are good things about them and there are also difficult things about them. Higher education need to understand. The good thing about them is that they can be very innovative. They can come out with out-of-box ideas and they can make a big difference. The difficult thing is that they don't have learning habits. Say, for example, these days, one question which I asked every student I meet across, what are you reading these days? The answer would be, they are not reading anything at all. And this is the problem, learning style. So we have to make our institution a second home where we have to show them what they have not seen at their home. This is one challenge that all of us are facing on the student side. Now, what is the implication for business school? The implication for business school is that we are mostly into value proposition business. Students come to us precisely because they find it very good for their career making, their life, hands-on job, practical exposure, resulting into a kind of job after the education. And therefore, it's our duty to focus on a student and give them as much value as possible, and which is possible only through more demonstration that we can give to them, more involvement or engagement that we have with them. So a kind of holistic engagement we have to create with them, and this needs the change in paradigm. Quite often in traditional educational system, we think that the teacher is at the higher pedestal, students are at a lower pedestal, and there has to be a relationship between teacher and taught. Teacher knows everything. It is their duty to pass on the knowledge. This paradigm has to change, because the good thing about teaching is that very interesting thing about teaching is that nothing can be taught. That is what we say. Can you teach anything to anybody? Zen philosophy says no, you can't teach anything. But then it also says that yes, and it's something, everything can be learned. And then if we keep on going with the teaching paradigm, the teacher-taught paradigm, engagement with the student will not be possible. So you have to change it, and you have to be the guide by their side, instead of being the teacher-taught relationship. This is one fine point I am trying to make everywhere, which is needed in our context. Because unless our teachers or institution become student-centric, teachers become guide by their side, we cannot engage much with them, and our problem will continue. In South Asia, you see 1.8 billion people, is almost going to be 25% of the world. If you talk about GDP in PPP terms, is third largest in the world, taken together, all South Asian countries. But where is the quality? Where our students stand at the global level? They're not standing at the global level. So what is the problem? The problem is that we are still carrying on with the old methodology of teaching. And therefore there needs to be a big change in the mindset and change in paradigm, the way we teach. A lot of innovations required, a lot of technology required, a lot of engagement programs required. That's one aspect of quality, which is very important for me, because South Asia is going to be the youngest population region in the world. The rest of the world, aging population, they're going to lose out on productivity due to aging population. We're going to gain productivity because of young population. But then this demographic window is going to be for another next 10 to 20 years. But you have to do something in 10, 20 years. But if you miss it out, then you're going to be in big trouble. Your whole young, bulging population will become a liability instead of becoming an asset. So it's a post-dated check in our hand. But the question is that how we encash this check. Are we in a position to encash it? If we are not, then we are going to be in deep trouble. That's why the first point is very important, which I made about student. The second point is about faculty. We have sheer dearth of faculty all across South Asia. When I say sheer dearth of faculty, it's not about number. It's about the qualitative faculty and the right kind of faculty. And that's the reason why you see, look at the school education, how it is happening in South Asia. The first thing is that we have to make our children go to the school. That's the first job. We have been able to do that to some extent, but still not all students are in the school in South Asia. Once they are in the school, the second job is to make them stay in the school. They complete the school. Here also we have made some progress, but there is a lot to do on this. There is a dropout problems. Students are not able to complete the school. Third is that if they have completed the school, then they should be coming out with a kind of good degree, right? Here is my concern. So a lot of estimates have been given, and it says that a student passing out 9th is not able to solve 3rd grade math problems. A student passing out 8th not able to speak, not able to address English problems of 3rd grade. So here's a huge gap of quality. And therefore, it carries on to the college. It also carries on to the higher education. Therefore, right kind of faculty. In the management space, I talked about quality of faculty who has practical exposure. So a faculty can be of any stream, but a faculty with industry exposure and the industry people with academic exposure. So these are the two combinations that we have to create. And if we operate separately, that faculty is separate and the industry people are separate, the market is separate, then it's not going to help. It has to be a blend of it. The industry people has to learn academics. The academic people has to learn the ways of industry. Then only they can become the right kind of faculty for our students. That's the second concern for quality. The third, I talked about research. Now, not many institutions have recognized research as a differentiator. So they are looking at other aspects as differentiator for their institutions, but the proportion of institutions who have recognized research as a differentiator is about 30 to 40% across South Asia, which is a low number. So more and more institutions have to come up and say, okay, research is our differentiator, and we'd like to focus on research. Now, on these three parameters of quality, networking has a big role to play, because we can enhance, improve, gain a lot on all the three counts of quality if we focus on collaborations. So I talked about those collaborations aspects to the audience today. So these are the three quality parameters.
Okay, and when focusing on quality, where should the initiative come from? Where should that change begin from?
Yeah, it has to be a bottom-up approach. Institutions themselves should come up and talk to others, because people are more open today to talk to each other than 20, 30 years back. We are not a closed society these days. We all understand that there is a need for collaboration, and we are ready to speak to each other. So dialogue, entering into a dialogue process is very important. But institutions like AMDISA can facilitate, and they're doing a great job. Let's say, for example, bringing professors, the directors, the vice chancellors of South Asian universities, institutions together on a single platform is a big job that we are doing. So today, I was able to meet so many people from South Asia, which otherwise I would not have met them. So first, entering the dialogue process at the individual level, and then there has to be a facilitation from the government and also from bigger institutions and platforms. They should come up and create this kind of platform for them to come together. And government should also encourage this practice and can help in overcoming the difficulties in coming together.
All right. And speaking of governments, what is the role that the Indian government plays in education in your country?
Yeah, India is a vast country, very big country, and education is very important for us. The education is also one of the priority of the government, and government is doing a lot of. They're coming up with new education policy. The debate is going on. The regulatory framework is a bit complex at the moment. We need to ease it out, but the process is on, and the government is working on it, and very soon we will see a kind of new framework that will come up. Good in education, but a long way to go, of course.
So government involvement is from primary education up to tertiary education?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Government-run schools are there, government-run colleges are there, state universities are there, central universities are there. That's one kind of framework that we have. Another framework is the private sector entry into higher education and school education. So parallelly, we also have private sector in school education, in college education, in also higher education. And it is allowed, it is permitted by the government. So, and private sector are doing good in India. They are helping us to achieve quality, and they have also been helping us in creating jobs in the market.
All right, and so the government regulates the private sector as well, or doesn't?
Yes, we do have regulatory bodies. Say, for example, the standalone management institutions are regulated by All India Council of Technical Education. Then higher universities are regulated by UGC, which is called University Grants Commission. So likewise, we have the regulatory authority. They are needed because market cannot work just like that. It has to be regulated. It has to be some benchmark of quality has to be there.
All right. So the benchmark that the government sets, is that high enough? Do you think, or more work needs to be done?
Yes, that's a tricky question. More needs to be done. It has to go up and up all the time. Yeah, if you have achieved X, then tomorrow it has to be X plus 1. It cannot be that we have achieved X and it's done. It's not like that. There is something called accreditation policy that has come up, and it's a good thing that some regulatory bodies like AICTE has come up with some accreditation policy. Accreditation policy is good for ensuring quality. In accreditation, institutions are going beyond what is being provided by the government framework. They are going for, let's say, SACS, South Asia accreditation, then they are also going for international accreditation. So these are the quality benchmark that is being pursued. It is some bottom line is there from the government side, but I can see that many institutions are going even beyond that.
Mm-hmm. All right. And what are some of the solutions that your organization has identified as being important to pursue in terms of improving quality in education?
Yeah. I represent Jaipuria Institute of Management. We are a student-centric institution. We have developed a very well thought of holistic student engagement program, and our student engagement programs are well received by the marketers also and by the students, their parents. They recognize that we have a good student engagement program. Even the premier institution of management in India, like Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, has written a case study on our institute. They showcased, they have documented the practices that we follow. It's actually a kind of formal and non-formal, blending the two together to create holistic engagement, which is being followed in our institution. Second is research. So we are putting a lot of emphasis on research. We have taken some steps for the faculty, incentivizing the faculty to do research. For example, we have the ABCD list of journals, and if they publish in these journals, then they get paid for. We incentivize them. Some money is given to them. Then we also have a research fund available for them. We encourage them to go out, take part in self-development wherever they think that they're lacking. So a couple of measures we have taken to focus on research. Then third thing is good ambience is very important for the overall growth. Most of the institutions, what happens is that the internal ambience gets vitiated, and then the people lose out the interest on working. So you have to keep on doing a little bit of innovative works and engage faculty, staff, students, everybody together. So that has been the focus, which keeps them, kicking alive, doing good work. With a zeal they do the work. That's very important. We firmly believe that unless you have the urge to work, you don't work. There's one thing that you work because you have to work, but it is another thing that you work because you want to work, right? Or you love to work. So, that kind of environment has to be created. So we are conscious about it, and we are doing it.
Does the Jaipuria Institute of Management have any current collaborations that it is working on?
Yes, we value collaboration, and we have collaboration of various nature. We have collaborations with more than 20 institutions all over the world, and faculty and student exchange program is there, and also we send a student for summer internship, hands-on practical learning. In South Africa, our students and faculty go to Finland, Switzerland, and this is a great way of creating a global mindset among students, and that makes them more employable. In our institution, we have almost 100% placement. So those who come and join Jaipuria, they get placed. And every year, if you look at the record of placement, it is increasing in terms of average salary, in terms of better profile, job profile, the highest salary that the students are getting. So students are happy because they see value in what we do. And that's the best way to engage them. That's the best way to do it. And therefore, collaboration is very important, and we need more and more collaborations. I was really wondering why at South Asia level there isn't much collaboration. One of the reasons is the deficit in quality. That may be the reason. People think that if we have to do collaboration, let's do it with European countries or maybe US or some Western country, Australia and other places. Why do you go to India? Why do you go to Sri Lanka? But I strongly believe that each country of South Asia has a lot to offer. This is my first visit to Sri Lanka. I can see that students, if they come over here, they have a lot to learn in Sri Lanka. And therefore, we need to promote very strong culture of collaboration. These collaborations can be, number one, student and faculty exchange programs. Number two, research program where the joint research publication can be undertaken by the faculty, or faculty from each country can do case studies of industries in each other's country, which is a very strong learning tool. A third can be, we can also collaborate on organizing events, maybe youth events or some other focused events which we can collaborate on. So these are some of the areas where South Asian countries must collaborate. We value collaborations in Jaipur, and we do it in a big way.
Mm-hmm. And how have you developed these ties over the years?
Yeah, I mean, it's through networking. Our professors have met somewhere with them, and they talk to them, what they're doing, how they're doing, and they bring home the message that, okay, this is a good institutions where we can talk to, and then we write to them. They also respond. When they come to India, we invite them for a session. They come interact with our students. We approach also the embassies, and we call people from embassies, their officers, their economic advisors for learning purposes, and they come, they interact with our faculty, students. That's a great source of learning. And through this, we also developed this idea of how collaboration and what are the areas where collaborations can be done.
And what are the benefits to the companies who are providing these placements? What are the benefits that they see arising out of it?
It's a win-win game because these days industries require industry-ready individuals. Earlier, what used to happen is that industry will take a graduate and then they will devote almost 6 months or a year to train them, and then they will put them on the job. So now what is happening is that industry look for a complete graduate who can work right from day one. They don't have time for investing so much of time and money, energy to train them. So they want that they should come out as a ready graduates. Now, business school has to provide a kind of environment, training system in such a manner that when they come out of the college, they are ready for the job. So job readiness is more important, and therefore it's about how much value we give to them. There is something interesting that we do in Jaipur I would like to share with you. We call it individual development plan. So when the student come to our campus, on day one, we assess them on certain parameters, assign them a mentor. So each faculty will have 6-7 students as a mentee. Now the purpose of this exercise is to know the student and map their aspirations. Every student is different. It's just like, you can't open every lock with a single key. You need to have different keys to open different locks. And therefore every individual has different potentiality, different aspirations. So you have to understand that. The happiness in life is about meeting the aspirations. So if you want to become something and you become that, you're happy. It's not about only job, and therefore it goes beyond job actually. And therefore it's very important that we know what the student wants to become in life, what is his aspirations, where does he want to work, which industry he is comfortable working with. So these are the things. And what are then competencies? So what are his strengths, his weaknesses? So we do all these kind of exercise. We call industry people and the student mentor. They sit together and we work out the entire profile of the student. And then individual interventions are created based on individual student's profile. That is the key to success. That's the reason why we are able to create job-ready students, number one, and also students who join the job and they become happy. Because in most cases we have seen that the students have got the job but they're not happy. But we have to understand that there is a mismatch between aspirations and the job. So,
and given how successful the program of studies at Jaipur Institute of Management has been in India, have you received any requests to sort of share your knowledge with other educational institutes?
I keep on getting invitations. I talk on teaching leadership because I believe strongly that unless teaching leadership is developed, a good student engagement is not possible, because teachers are the one who is going to engage the student. And I also keep on getting invitation to share the experiences.
In terms of the resources required to implement such a project, such an educational program, is it a lot of resources that are required, or is it a manageable amount that most universities or educational institutes would be able to manage with what they have?
For professional institutions like business management colleges, I think it's manageable. It's not that you need huge amount of resources unless you go for a big ambitious research project for which fundings are available. So we should be open to external projects funding if some big projects are undertaking, but it is advisable that at least some engagement of a huge nature or big nature has to be undertaken, because they give a different kind of learning. But one-on-one peer learning and manageable research publications, or we call it research which can be taken to the classroom, right, is very important for us. Abstract research, they don't help students so much, but of course it has a long-term impact on the institutions. But what helps our student is a practical research which can be taken to the classroom as an example, and they can learn from that. So it's manageable. To a large extent, it's manageable.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your thoughts with us.